we get through the, oh,
Don't worry, I'll clean up the top of it.
so we do the presentation, and then do we open it up for verbal Q&A, or do we tell
Yes,
people?
yes. Yeah, remember, you have the PowerPoint presentation. We'll go through the entire presentation. And then there is an opportunity for questions and answers. And then we will also give information about next steps and how to participate on the social pinpoint site and the overall project schedule. So for those of you that are just joining us tonight, we're not quite ready to start yet. My name is Kendall Flint. I'm with DKS Associates, and we are about 5 minutes out from starting. We'll give people a few minutes to sign on to make sure everybody has a good chance to get signed up. But you are attending the Manhattan Beach Advanced Traffic Signal System Project Public Workshop. We'll be starting about 6:30. And so in the meantime, you are probably going to be muted and we're not going to see you. But when we come to the point where we have Q&A, we will of course open this up for you so that you can participate and ask any questions that you might have. I was going to put on fun theme music, and I found actually Sousa's version of Manhattan Beach, but I have to tell you, when I looked at it or heard it, it sounded a little cranky. So I didn't really want to make anybody have to listen through that tonight. Just saying. I try to keep music or something in there, just kind of, you know, keep it real. And I guess congratulations are in order to all you Southern California peeps that were probably rooting for the Rams. Obviously I was not, but if I have to know, we've at least got a California team in the Super Bowl. I think that's really good. And
we have fans definitely in our office, pretty happy.
I bet.
Absolutely.
I was actually surprised. I'm not saying that this is a real thing, but tomorrow begins Chinese New Year, which is the year of the tiger. And I would just like to point out, we're talking about
The Cincinnati
Bengal
Bengals.
Tigers.
Yes.
And the Bengal Tigers making their first Super Bowl appearance in a very long time. I'm not saying it's kismet, but just something to consider.
Go
Right.
Chiefs. Go Chiefs. There you go.
No, the Chiefs died, Alan.
I know. I'm just saying go Chiefs.
I love it.
My last community meeting, because it's not a crazy, it's a small, relatively smaller project. We actually didn't have anyone attend the meeting.
Oh no.
And that was a little disappointing because we're all prepared.
Well, the good news is that even for folks that aren't able to attend the meeting tonight, we'll be able to post it so they can watch it online. And Helen, I think you probably noticed I've created a tiny URL, which is a little bit easier to get to than the longer version. So
right, I saw that. That's really smart.
I can barely remember my phone number. I need less digits, right? It's all good. We'll give everybody a few more minutes.
Hey, Kendall, did you send Alex a link? I don't see Alex yet.
Yeah, where's Alex?
I did send him a link. Let me just double check to make
I saw you did, yeah.
sure.
No.
has bounced back. It's Alex, ALEX .ZHU, right?
Yeah. I've just texted him.
I tell him to check his email right now. Just bounced, so. Okay. Give it another minute or two. And thanks to all of you that are joining us tonight. My name is Kendall Flint. I'm with DKS Associates, and we are getting ready to start the workshop for the Manhattan Beach Advanced Traffic Signal System Project. You will be able to ask questions and type comments as we roll through this meeting tonight. We're going to go through how to raise your hand and all that kind of good stuff. But in the meantime, you'll also notice there's a chat window at the bottom. You will be able to ask questions. The panelists and presenters will see those, and we will read those out loud. This meeting will be recorded, so you will be able to go back and look at it later and or share it with other folks as time marches on. We also will have other opportunities for you to share comments via the city's website and what's called a social pinpoint site that you can share with other folks to get comments in general as we move on. That site will remain open until February 12th. So it should give you plenty of time in order to share any concerns or comments that you might have. And we're at 6:32, and we do have some things to go off at the top of this. So Alan, I'm going to go ahead and suggest that we go ahead and start the meeting. And then as people come in, we'll have a little time to pop up. So I'm going to pass that over to you.
All right. Yes, let's start. We can always answer questions or explain the details of the project whenever who has questions. Good evening. My name is Helen Shi. I'm the Senior Civil Engineer of the City of Manhattan Beach, Department of Public Works. I'd like to welcome you all and thank you everyone for coming. I know you are all very busy, and I really appreciate your time and support. The project we want to discuss this evening is Manhattan Beach Advanced Traffic Signal System Project. The project will construct a complete citywide fiber network along the major arterials. We have a lot to talk tonight, so I'm not gonna, without further delay, I will hand this over to the project design engineer, Alan Cleland from DKS Associates. So Alan.
Thank you very much, Alan. And just like to add to Helen's welcome for this evening. And I'm glad you joined us. And I hope it'll be an informative evening for you. I'm going to start with a quick project overview and then get into the key elements of the project. And there are several of them. And then there's an opportunity for asking questions. But I think you can put comments in during the course of the presentation, and that would help introduce us into the questions. Kendall, next slide. Thank you. So the whole project is driven by the city's strategic plan, the mobility element of the strategic plan, which drew attention to the need to improve mobility within the city, improve mobility and do it in a safe and efficient way. And this is one of several projects that is driven by the mobility plan. And the focus of this project is the traffic signals that you encounter every day in Manhattan Beach. And the key element of communications to those traffic signals. There will be additional elements to enable the traffic signals to be responsive to changing traffic conditions. And those of you who live in Manhattan Beach and visit Manhattan Beach know that in addition to the day-to-day congestion that we get in the Los Angeles area, the city's famous for its special events, especially around the beach area. And the city suffers not only through regular traffic congestion on weekdays, but also at weekends. And of course, there are incidents that happen that impact the traffic as well. One of the goals is not just to respond to these changing traffic conditions, but to anticipate the changing traffic conditions. And we'll look at various ways that the city staff operating the system can influence that. There is also support for responding to emergencies, and as I mentioned, managing the special events. Next slide, please, Kendall.
One quick thing, Alan, before I move on. Elizabeth, could you please ask if anyone needs Spanish language translation tonight?
Oh.
Hola, buenas noches y bienvenidos al taller del proyecto de Manhattan Beach. Le agradecemos por tomarse el tiempo para participar en este evento. Para aquellos de ustedes que necesiten interpretación en español, está disponible y será proporcionada por mí. Si desea participar en español, seleccione en la zona de abajo la opción para el idioma español. También puede levantar su mano o indicar a través de la ventana del chat que requiere el español. Y nos iremos al audio en español desde ahora.
Gracias. Okay, Alan.
Okie doke. So the means of connecting the traffic signals in a reliable fashion is going to be done through a fiber optic network. And the advantage of using fiber optics is it provides very high, what's called bandwidth, and that determines the capacity of the network. And this will be a very high network, very high capacity network that will be installed. And we call it the Manhattan Beach Ring. And as you see, in addition to connecting up the traffic signals, and we'll be talking about other field elements, televisions, closed circuit television and signs. In addition to connecting into those, the Manhattan Beach Ring connects various facilities within the city. Prime one being the City Hall. And in terms of this project, the Public Works Department's yard. But we also get connections into the police department, for example. This ring allows, through connections to the internet, access to these various elements within the city through mobile terminals and also through the Emergency Operations Center. And this is very, very important, of course, in dealing with special events and emergencies within the city. So that's one connection from the Manhattan Beach Ring up to the internet. What you may not realize is that the traffic signals within the city are actually controlled by a computer. It's called an automated traffic management system at the LA County Department of Public Works. You see in the bottom right-hand corner of the graphic here. And that's in Alhambra. And there's a connection between Alhambra, currently a connection between Alhambra via a fiber hub into the Manhattan Beach Ring. This connection has grown over the years and bits have been added and changed. And it really needs to have a significant improvements to reliability and its resilience. And we will get this through connection to another network called the South Bay SmartNet. This has been configured through and provided through the South Bay Cities Council of Governments, these SBC COG as we call it, using funds that have come via Metro through the Measure M initiative. This initiative has established at this facility throughout the whole of the South Bay, connecting all the cities, including the City Hall in Manhattan Beach, to serve a number of different applications. And one of them is to connect the traffic control system at the LA County Department of Public Works and the traffic signals at Manhattan Beach using this new fiber network going into place within the city. So you see this arrangement here, this triangular arrangement with the Manhattan Beach Ring, access to the internet, but also access straight to the South Bay Cities COG SmartNet, which itself is connected to the internet, and also through to various systems at Metro. and one of them being 511 traveler information system, so we can actually get information out to motorists, and also collect information from traffic movements within the area as well as within Manhattan Beach. This information can be provided from the Manhattan Beach system through the internet to third parties, as well as the public through the 511 system and other systems that can be accessed here. Also to third party companies to make use of this data in the future. The key element of all of this is making sure that the city is not just dealing with current problems, but leveraging the benefits of these networks for the future. And we all know the future is changing rapidly. Technology, we hear about autonomous vehicles, automated delivery vehicles running through the city. The city wants to be prepared for that. And this communications arrangement here is critical to take advantage of those new opportunities through leveraging the capacity of this fiber network. So the fiber network itself, as you can see from the diagram here, connecting all the traffic signals. It's not only a ring, it has spurs coming off it to Marine Avenue and Artesia Boulevard, but the ring is formed by Rosecrans, Aviation Boulevard, Manhattan Beach Boulevard, and Highland Avenue, all very familiar to you, connecting into City Hall here and the Public Works Department up in the northwest corner of the ring. So this design will enable the city staff to have direct control over the system and the various elements in with the system, and much better control than they have at the moment. The system within the county Public Works Department is operated by county staff. This will enable the city staff to be involved in operations as well on a much more regular basis. But doing this and reducing ongoing operations and maintenance costs, that's where this redundancy comes in through the networks, that triangle of networks there, providing tremendous redundancy and redundancy of communications within the city. So there's no single point of failure here. And that's a significant part of reducing ongoing operations and maintenance costs. And in addition to the city getting benefits, can we just go back there, Kendall? In addition to the city getting benefits from this network, it also provides other stakeholders within the city to, in the future, to take advantage of it. We leverage off this high capacity communications network. Once it's all operating for its prime goal here of the traffic management and control, it will be able to be opened up to South Bay agencies, private sector, companies, and other stakeholders. And as the South Bay hopes, South Bay COG hopes through the SmartNet, link the agencies together so that they can all enjoy benefits. And we've already been talking to Redondo Beach and El Segundo in the north as to how they can get a benefit from this network as well. So we're already seeing the interest in it. Thanks, Kendall. So what do we get from this fiber network connecting the signals? Well, in order to maximize the benefit from the fiber network, there will be a considerable upgrade to the equipment that's in the street. The intersection, a typical traffic signal intersection, has main components of a computer, a controller we call it, that sits in a cabinet, which enables connectivity and other functions to be present, as well as the traffic signal control. There's detection that's needed so that the computer knows what's happening with the traffic. And there are signals and poles to convey that information through the signals to not only to vehicles, but also to pedestrians and bikes, etc. All of this equipment is going to see upgrades. The controllers are going to be replaced by the most modern controllers on the market today, offering tremendous capabilities for flexibility of traffic signal control, communications, receiving information, not just from the detection at the intersection, but from outside of the network as well. The traffic signals and poles will be upgraded. The signal heads will go from 8-inch to 12-inch. And there'll be improvement in pedestrian facilities here, bringing in, as I get onto it in a second, new pedestrian push buttons on these poles that will be touchless. And that's a significant health improvement. Can we go back, please, Kendall? Key element here is detection. There'll be a significant upgrade to the connection at the intersection. Currently, detecting vehicles is done through loops in the road, traditional standard for many, many, many years. This is going, but with very significant maintenance issues. This is going to be replaced by state-of-the-art video detection systems and radar detection systems, which not only detect vehicles, but detect pedestrians, bikes, and collect information on vehicle movements and pedestrian movements, all anonymously, but all helping to plan for future improvements within the signal system. I mentioned the pedestrian push buttons getting upgraded. This is also the opportunity to upgrade the intersections to standards that come from the American Disabilities Act, which include access ramps at the intersections to improve access and road crossings and safety for the mobility challenged in the community. This is the overall network that we've been looking at, and we're providing this in a larger format for easier viewing in the future. In addition to the traffic signals, we're proposing to use the network to support closed circuit television. The ability to have eyes on the street looking at traffic to assess and verify what the current traffic conditions are is invaluable for the traffic operations staff. On a day-to-day basis, it allows the staff to identify congested areas. As you know, driving through a city, they're not always in the same place at the same time every day. Understanding the change can happen through this improved detection, but understanding why can really benefit from having these eyes on the street. The benefits you get from special events, understanding pre and post event network impacts, again, is invaluable for event management, current event management, what's going on at that moment in time, but also for saying, this is what happened the last time we had this event. Let's record that and look at it again and see how we can better manage our plans. Incidents happen, as I said, in the network. Assessing the impact of those incidents is invaluable. And the eyes on the street that you get from closed circuit TV are a great asset. And then, unfortunately, we do have disasters that happen, emergencies, and this is where having this additional video capability helps with understanding, and you'll see how we tie that into getting messages out to the community and to travelers as to what's going on. So we've come up with a plan for closed circuit television deployment. And we did this through a significant analysis of traffic within the city, looking at day-to-day, weekday, weekend, special weekends, special events, and emergencies, using data provided to us through Metro. And our traffic engineers worked on this data, identified 3 zones for special events within the city, analyzed events within those zones, and identified locations which would be great locations, ideal locations for closed circuit TV. And we'll look at that on the next slide. And we identified locations and priorities based on how much use can be gained from that particular location. Some locations, as you see, the ones around by the beach, are the lower priority because they're specifically for special events. Others can be used for special events and for day-to-day congestion viewing and congestion management. So we've laid this plan out, and it's what's interesting is not many people know that there are already closed circuit television cameras in use within the city of Manhattan Beach. Caltrans has cameras along Sepulveda, which you would expect being a major corridor here. And the County of Los Angeles, that same group that houses the computer that controls the traffic signals, also houses a server, a video server, to which cameras are connected on Rosecrans Boulevard at Village Drive and Aviation Boulevard, and also down in the south, Artesia Boulevard at our Aviation Way. They're connected into the county system to help the county traffic engineers do exactly what I've been talking to, assess the traffic conditions in these busy parts of the network. What we will get as a benefit from the fiber network, Caltrans and the county have agreed that they will use the fiber networks, the South Bay City's cog that links into that metro system, and the Manhattan Beach ring, to allow city staff to have access to these cameras. And the proposal is to, as these cameras, the other cameras go in, they'll be connected up to the county system to benefit adjacent agencies like El Segundo and Redondo Beach as well, when it's appropriate for them to get access. So you see the benefits that we're getting from this fiber network, and how laying out plans into the future and deploying this equipment as they're needed and as the funds become available, the city is really getting maximum benefit from this project and planning for the future as well as current conditions. The final element I want to talk about is dynamic messaging. And the key here, as we talk about, is making the traffic part of the solution and not just part of the problem. And the way they do this is getting information out to the vehicles, to the drivers, to the travelers through the network. And this information could be of traffic management, day-to-day guidance, where there's congestion, where there's not congestion. You know, the congestion changes, and when there are incidents, and that impacts the traffic in different ways. Getting that information to travelers through the network can help them choose routes that are optimum for the city, and reducing impact on residential areas, for example. You already see changeable message signs being used, portable ones, during special event management. In the plans that we've looked at, there's almost always something going on at the pier downtown, and we see the changeable message signs in use. We saw that just this summer. This last summer for events, as the Volleyball Open came back. And we learned a lot from talking to the event staff there in the special command center that gets set up by the pier. And we see that through the use of these portable options, portable signs now, that options for parking are given, and it also helps traffic leave the city and know how to not only get into the city to get to their event, but also leave more efficiency. Having permanent signs on roadways can be used in these temporary signs can be used in conjunction with the permanent signs in the future, getting even more use out of them. And the signs will be there not only for special events, but also for emergencies that happen within the system. A secondary use of these signs can also be public service announcements. And I'll give you an example of that in a second. So we went through that traffic analysis that I mentioned before, extensive traffic analysis of congestion and special events and impacts on traffic. And we came up with a plan, just as with the CCTV, with a plan for deploying these dynamic message signs, DMSs, within the city. Kendall? And we had input from not only the city engineer and the traffic engineering staff, and the public works department, but community development that works closely with the police department on special event management. We got some tremendous input and information from them, especially the traffic and police departments and the special events, leading to this, again, a prioritized list and location of signs through the city. You'll see, again, the signs being used around the event area, access to the event, but also egress on the key routes out of the city, helping the city, the traffic leave on the routes that are optimum for the city and avoiding residential areas. We have some signs here that are actually in two directions. They'll address both directions of traffic. What I wanted to do here before I hand over to my colleague Alex to go through a couple of the locations here. The city of Pasadena installed changeable message signs some 20 years ago, dealing with exactly the same issues, with traffic congestion, special events within the city. They have the Rose Bowl, of course, increasing number of events there. And they're at the end of a freeway, the 110. So they looked at options for traffic signal control and also for messaging. The sign that you see here is actually the second generation of sign. These are replacing the older signs that were first put in. The city felt they were a success, but they wanted to take advantage of new technologies and make the most of these signs. And so these signs are right up to date in terms of the technologies that are used for the display elements. They're allowing a smaller sign to be used to get the same information across because the characters are much clearer. You get easier understanding of the sign because of this higher resolution of the characters in there, and the ability to actually put graphics up on these signs and not just text means that you can use standard everyday regulatory traffic signs, and there's much quicker recognition on these signs from using day-to-day signs. The signs are as compact as you can get. It limits the intrusion of the sign. And the technology allows for much better control of the brightness, so that limits the impact of the sign on residential areas, for example, without affecting its effectiveness in getting information to the public. These locations that I've just shown you are subject to field review. And I have a colleague, Alex, who has been leading the field review, and he'll talk to you about some of the considerations and the factors that are taken into account in finalizing the proposed location for these signs. And I'd like to hand over to Alex now.
Sure. Thank you, Alan. As Alan mentioned it, after the locations are identified based on the traffic analysis and the methodology described by Alan, so the city engineers and the project team conducted a preliminary engineer process plus a field visit to actually finalize the exact location of each sign and also to decide the types of deployment. So there are two types of DMS deployment in this project. One is on the median and the other type is on the sidewalk. So in this slides, particularly, we're showing you a sample of typical median deployment. This is a double-sided DMS, and this sign is located at the westbound Artesia Boulevard at Redondo Avenue. In this case, actually, there are two signs back-to-back on the same structure, so which can serve traffic from both directions. So there are many factors were considered to decide the final location. And first, when we're in the field, we look at the site distance and then clearance. So the team wants to make sure that there is enough distance for the intended traffic to clearly view the message on the sign and also react accordingly before a major decision point. Also, we want to avoid any major obstruction from buildings, other signs, and any other surrounding elements. Secondly, we also consider the adjacent property usage. So the city strives to provide a context-sensitive solution, which means that we're looking for a more aesthetically pleasing options in sign and structure design so that the DMS can fit into the surrounding environment. Third is the constructability. This is more from the actual engineer perspective. So specifically, we try to look at the availability of power and calm within the adjacent area. As a typical design, the DMS in this project is energized by the service location at the adjacent traffic signal. For communication, the DMS is also linked to the fiber network that is being deployed by this project as described by Ellen. There are also other factors was considered in the process, such as right-of-way, ADA compliances, and also minimizing the conflicts with existing utility, and so on. So this slide actually shows you another example of a sidewalk deployment. So this is a single DMS on a cantilever structure. This sign is actually located at the westbound Manhattan Beach Boulevard at Pacific Avenue. So the similar engineer process was done to finalize the exact location. One thing I do want to point out, also, I think Alan also touched a little bit, was the city really strives to keep the DMS as small as possible to fit into an urban arterial environment. So the project team actually are looking into the minimum requirement for the letters and also the ability to accommodate the most common messages planned for display to decide the actual dimension of the signs. And then also last, as Ellen mentioned, these DMS represent the most advanced technology. So they will be in full matrix and full color. So it will be able to display different types of messages, including letters and symbols, as you can see from the slide. Kendall, back to you.
Thank you. We're ready now to open up for some questions and comments. I do want to say we did get a question, and thank you, Helen, for answering it in the chat box, but did want to give you opportunities to learn about all the different ways you can ask questions or comment. We have basically, you can raise your virtual hand. I don't know how many of you are very, very familiar with Zoom. I feel like I've been living on it for the last year, but at the bottom of your screen, there's an opportunity for you to raise your hand. And you can raise hand and we will be happy to call on you and unmute you so that you can ask your question. We are really, there's so few of us tonight, I don't think we need to worry about a 3-minute or 1 comment per person, but in general, we encourage you, if you do have a question, to please raise your hand. The other thing you can do is click and ask a question. And we do have one question already. Again, this is at the bottom of your screen where it says Q&A. You can also jump on this on the chat, whatever is easiest for you. But Gregory Fant has asked a question, which is basically, the worst traffic in the city is probably on Sepulveda, but the network map does not show any network signals on Sepulveda. Is that because Sepulveda is controlled by county or Caltrans? And Helen answered that question. Yes, the intersections along Sepulveda is under the Caltrans jurisdiction. We are working with Caltrans to connect the fiber when available. Are there any other folks that have questions tonight that you would like to pose to the group? Again, you can do that by raising your hand or submitting a question in Q&A or by typing a question in the chat box. I'm not seeing any hands raised or questions. So while you're thinking about it, trying to figure out what to ask, I want to give you another couple of bits of information here. We have a site that is on the city's website. It's called Social Pinpoint. And what this is, it's a copy of all of the maps that Alan and the team have shared with you tonight. And there's the opportunity to go onto that site and then to click on one of these particular areas or intersections, cameras, whatever it may be, and post a comment or question that relates to that piece. And when you do that, you're able to actually post your comment. And if you want, maybe it's in your neighborhood, you can post a picture taken with your cell phone or iPhone or whatever else, and then say, here's my concern or my issue with that particular piece. All of these will be used by the project team to inform the overall development. This will close on February 12th. That's giving basically 2 weeks, a week Friday, to get that completed. And then this is, of course, the City of Manhattan Beach website. If you look at the bottom, we tried to make this a little shorter for you to get a quicker link. So if you want to go there directly, you can go https tinyurl.com/tinyurl.com/MBATS 2022. And that will take you directly to the site where you can review the social pinpoint site, as well as background information on the project itself and any other information that was gathered as part of this effort. We really encourage you to share this information with family, friends, colleagues, folks that are within the project area vicinity. The city has already published this information as part of its e-news setup with regard to sending it out to the public. It's also part of social media. So I'm going to ask again if there are any, I'm seeing some Q&A questions. Let me go over here. Here's a good one. Anonymous, I joined late. If it's being recorded, please post instructions of how to make the comment, how to, anonymous attendee, if you can clarify your question. But in terms of how to post a comment, you're able to get that directly from the site. There's actually directions when you go on the project, the social pinpoint site. And those are available, by the way, in both Spanish, English, and other languages if you need them. And it will tell you exactly how to do it. It's basically using a Google interface, which allows you to just basically drag and drop a comment to the specific intersection or site, and then put that comment in. And then you're able to, if you like, add a question or anything else. I see also Helen has answered another question. Let's see, what is the proposed timeline for completion? The project is under design phase right now. We'll plan to start construction by the end of the year. The construction of the whole system is expected to be approximately 1 year. However, if there are material shortage or delivery delay, the construction might be delayed. Carl asks for, so when your system is functional and connected to the county system, will the data from your system be used to help improve the flow on Sepulveda? And Helen responds, yes, we will be sharing that data with our partners at Caltrans to improve the regionally wide system. Let's see what else we got. 2 open questions. How will the systems help handle the needs of emergency vehicles to get through traffic safely and for traffic to recover after the emergency vehicle has passed through location? Carl, that's a great question. And Alan, I wonder if you could address that based on one of the things you talked about tonight, which is the ability to monitor and view real-time traffic.
Yes, in fact, the city already benefits from what's called emergency vehicle preemption. This is a system that was first installed several years ago as part of, installed by the Regional Communications Center. In Hawthorne, there's a center for emergency services, and it controls and communicates with all the emergency services in 6 cities, of which Manhattan Beach is one and Hawthorne is another. And through the Regional Communications Center, this equipment was installed that it detects an emergency response vehicle when it's on response and gives it safe passage through the intersection. That equipment actually has just recently been upgraded to the latest version, which allows the responding vehicle to be detected earlier and make an even safer passage through the intersection. The benefit of the new system going in Manhattan Beach is it provides more flexibility to respond to that request to allow the emergency vehicle through safely, because as you can imagine, the other traffic flowing into that intersection has to be stopped to create the safe passage to give green for the responding vehicle. and the new equipment that's going in will provide more flexibility to do that. The closed circuit television, of course, will allow the operators to see exactly what's happening in that emergency response, but also the improved detection at the intersection, the video detection that I talked about, will give the traffic signal controller, that little computer at the traffic signal, more accurate information as to what the impact on the traffic was of that request for preemption, which caused the traffic to be stopped, and will enable the recovery more quickly.
Alan, another good question from Carl. How will the system help deal with pop-up construction zone traffic restrictions?
In the short term, the ability to make rapid changes to the traffic signal timings will enable a construction zone, which by definition is restricting the capacity on a street, for example. It will enable rapid recalculation of the traffic signal timings that are needed to accommodate the change in the traffic flow. In the future, the fiber network will allow the city to take advantage of an activity that's underway right now, which aims at standardizing the definition of a construction zone so that it can be understood by different computer systems. And the city in the future will be able to take that standard definition of a construction zone, push it through the fiber network into the internet to those third-party providers so they can use it in giving information to travelers like Waze and Google. Also, that information will go to adjacent cities to help them understand what's going on. This is going to be a major step forward in improving and reducing the impact of on traffic of construction zones and improving the safety around construction zones in those unusual situations. So the city is going to be ideally placed to take advantages of those standards, which are being developed now by committee. Literally, there was a committee meeting I would have liked to have been to this morning, discussing how to improve the safety of the construction workers on the street by providing information to approaching traffic. The city is going to be right there to be able to take advantage of that through what they're doing now.
Awesome. So we have another question. This one's from
I have
Alan.
Sorry, Kendall. I have a
Christian?
little to add to this questions. Also, because we're proposing dynamic message sign, which city or county will have the control in providing the construction zone traffic to have redirect the traffic to different route. So that will definitely help to alleviate the traffic in or close to the construction zone.
Thanks, Helen. Also wanted to ask, we've got another question from Alan Kirschbaum. Did any of the adjacent cities want to join the project so that the cost could be shared?
Yes, we had several meetings with MTA, with SBCOG, with cities of El Segundo, Hawthorne, Redondo Beach, and also Hermosa Beach, even Caltrans. All of them are interested, and the cities nearby specifically mentioned they want to start this project too. But as City of Manhattan Beach is the first to start this project, so we will be responsible to put the fiber along the major arterial. And the other city, when they start their construction, they will be able to share. You know, if it's along Artesia, then the city of Hermosa Beach and the Redondo Beach will be able to share. The cost-wise, because the budget is limited, so we can only improve several intersections. So when other cities chime in and start their project, they can continue or finish all the other intersection improvement that we probably won't be able to cover at this phase.
Okay, also want to point out, Carl has said this concept has great potential. We need it. The sooner, the better. Thank you, Carl.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Were there any other questions or comments we wanted to take in tonight before I move to the next steps of what we're doing? Give everybody a second for that. More than a second, obviously. Well, let me go through the schedule, which is going to be coming up. What is our next steps? So as you can tell, we're in the middle of a project right now, and this is a general list of where we are. Now, a couple of things that were asked. First of all, the recording of this particular meeting will be made available on the city's website. It usually takes about 24 hours for us to render the meeting so that it's ready to go. And then we'll provide that to the city and it'll be on that site. You'll be able to access that through the link we showed previously. But anyway, the idea here now is that we are moving forward with next will be environmental moving things around. Environmental analysis, the fiber network operation study, and then the final design, with the idea being that we're going through right-of-way and construction, procurement, et cetera, that will be happening April, May, with the idea of being completed in 2022. Alan, did you want to add anything more on that in terms of the overall project schedule and what people can expect to see in the coming months?
We are in the middle of the design, and I'm hoping that design team, once we have city council clear, direction on some design concepts or design details, we will be able to wrap up the design in summer this year. Then as soon as we finish design, we will start on the bidding process, which probably going to be by the end of this year. And then the construction hopefully will start early next year. And then depends on how soon the material will be delivered, or, we don't really have a solid confidence on the next year's situation. But if everything goes normal, then we will be able to finish it within a year. That means everything goes smoothly, then we will be finishing the project by the end of the year 2023. So we have a full fiber network.
Alan, was there anything else you'd like to add?
I think there's a question asking for the cost of the project. I don't know if I typed in.
No, they were asking about if people wanted, and you did answer that, Helen, which was basically were cities willing to join in the construction costs to help share costs, and you did address that.
Yeah.
Right. And the design and the construction of the project, we have the budget of $12 million for the whole system. So we are hoping the inflation doesn't go crazy, so we will be able to cover the whole system.
Right. Well, I know no one wants to finish a meeting earlier than, planned, but does anyone else have anything for the good of the order, or any other questions or comments the project team can address for you tonight? Well, if not, Helen, with your blessing, I would say that we can wrap this one up, and then we'll have this posted to the website. I'll provide the materials tomorrow, and usually takes about, again, 24 hours for it to render. But again, I would like to remind everyone, I'm going to put this back up again just so you can see it. We have a link to the, a link to the website. You can go directly to the city site and type in the project, or you can go to the tiny URL. In any case, we really do hope that you do have an opportunity to share this information. And I don't know who Anonymous was, but thank you. Thank you for being here tonight. And we do want you, of course, to share this information with others. We'll be working with the city's PIO to push this out to other organizations. But again, a reminder, it will close on February 12th. That's the Friday before Valentine's Day. Not that you're looking forward to Valentine's Day, but just in case for a thing, just know that's it. That's when it's going to be. The Olympics will be on. So try to get to it as early as you can. and have a great week. Again, thank you for making the time. We know you're very busy, so we appreciate you spending this time with us tonight.
Also, if you have any questions, call me or email me. I will direct to the design team to answer any details if I don't have it. So thank you so much for joining us, and you guys have a very good evening.
Good night.
Good
Good
night.
night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.